everyone. Welcome to today's edition of the Daily Market Commentary for Monday, the 8th of January. Hope everybody had a great trading day. I am your host, Chuck Fulkerson. We're going to do what we do each and every day, and we look at the futures markets. We look at the same 10 to 12 markets each day and identify trading opportunities, leaving the lines on the charts. The reason we leave the lines on the charts is because it holds us accountable, holds you accountable, and it allows you to see how trades work over time. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Looking first at the S&P, and today we had our, kind of I'll call it the slowest day we've had in a while, as we started the day with a little bit of a rally up and then kind of pulled down. Now, I will say this, I had a 15-minute area set up for a potential reversal, and it was one of those days where we had the area set up for potential reversal, and it just didn't meet the entry. It just did not quite get there. We didn't get there on the potential reversal. It didn't quite hit into our level for an entry. So I had to sit back and watch this nice run kind of go throughout the day. Because I didn't have my entry quite high enough. That's okay. Not going to change the rules. Just because I get nicked by a tick or just barely miss the entry. Still leaving that position in play. I still think there's some validity to it. So that one, it'd be great to see if that thing gets hit in the overnight hours. Is there a potential rollover here? I do see some weakening momentum in this upward trend. If you just kind of draw a trend line here, you'll see that we've broken the upward trend line pretty nicely. And now we're bouncing kind of off of it and rolling down. So could see a little bit of a reversal at this point. I'm not shorting it. I don't want to short the all-time high. Once again, it's like tugging on Superman's cape and spitting into the wind, right? So leaving that one be. The S&P, the Nasdaq, looking at the Nasdaq, this is where I feel like a putz, because I definitely saw this was a potential reversal and did not have this trade set up. Didn't really set this one up, wasn't in love with the area, and of course, lo and behold, it worked out really, really well. So that is the shoulda, woulda, coulda extent of trading, where the area, everything worked out perfectly. I just didn't have the trade set up and in place, and that's okay. You're going to get those. That was an intraday opportunity that just kind of blew, hit and moved away nicely. There's really nothing on here that I want to add. You could get something off of this area right through here. I'm not as big of a fan of this as I was of this area up here. Probably should have just used this area here. And this still may work again for those of you that are willing to take a second bite of the apple. I'm going to hold off just a bit. Something tells me that we should expect a bit of a pullback just based on the historical average of what Januaries do. We're due for a little bit of a pullback, and I think that there's some good buying opportunity if price does indeed come back down to here. I'm just not willing to force it with one of these areas down here. I'll miss trades. I'd rather take less trades that have higher degrees of probability than take more trades. Crude oil. So here was our crude oil level. And once again, this is the one that I talked about on Twitter a couple of days ago, that you may have cut that level in half and just taken the bottom half of it. But that level is working out nicely. So some of you, hopefully, I got a couple of tweets that you guys were able to catch that move. So nice job on that one. That's continuing to run. If you're still in this thing, I would take your stop and probably move it up underneath this pivot high, lock in some profits. I think it's time to lock in some profits on that one. Gold, we are definitely putting in a little bit of a pinching slash, triangular pattern here. Not really a true triangle, but we're definitely pinching a little bit. So you could get a pretty decent move one way or the other. Now, if we do get a move down, this still stands to be a really good reversal point. I will be looking at this as a pretty good reversal point if we do indeed get a move down in gold. Bonds were very near the potential breakdown. This breakdown level does still exist. If we break down below this 123, 125 area to get a short. Remember, if you do get a breakdown out of here, at this point, your stop would have to go way above here because your stop goes above the last pivot high on a breakdown. So you need to get a decent move out of this to really make it worthwhile. But this breakdown is setting up nicely, and one that could be well in play. The Aussie. So looking here at the Aussie, we don't really have any new levels or areas set up in the Aussie. We got our breakout long out of here. If you're still in this Aussie, I think it's probably time to bail. I think that we may have seen the most of this run happen. This wasn't a really aggressive breakout to the upside, but I think that this is a good chance to bail if you're still in this Aussie from the breakout of this long. So I'm actually going to remove I'm actually going to remove the breakout line. I wanted to remove the drawing. Remove drawing. There we go. Both of these. And now we'll look for a potential reversal. I think you could get something right in through here. Looking at some of the reversal points. This, to me, looks like there's a chance there. I'm not a big fan of when it was formed. This is not a great time, the high probability, trading time of the day. So I'm not going to draw it, but this is one that you guys could use if you're willing to take that area for risk. Euro. So the euro level today hit the area. I tweeted that you might want to be really cautious about the stop on this. I didn't love the arrival into this area, and we didn't get a big move out of it. So, still may work out pretty well. I also said yesterday, I got a message from somebody that they caught it for a couple $100, which is awesome. Good to hear. We love to hear that. I did say yesterday, though, that if this one breaks through, which it might break, it's worked for a little bit for a very short-term trade. But if it does break, I would look down here as a potential candle-to-candle daily trade right out of that area there. So keep that in mind as a potential for daily trading if this one doesn't hold true. And the Canadian dollar, we've come close to our reversal point, not been able to quite get into it as of yet, and then nothing has come back down to our areas in the Canadian dollar. Look at the Canadian dollar on a bigger picture chart, the daily time period. We've had this parabolic move up. A little bit of a pullback would be healthy. Don't know if we're going to get it or not, but this is where our reversal is on the hourly chart, and we could see price come back out of this resistance point and then come back down from there just a bit. Looking at the pound and the yen, so looking at the Great British Pound, not a whole lot has set up since our breakout. If you're still riding this thing on the breakout, I think it's time to bail on this as well. We're seeing a lot of this happen. It looks like a lot of these breakout positions that occurred in the currency markets are starting to flatten out a little bit. That could be a little bit of strength coming into the overall U.S. dollar. So that strength that could be coming into the U.S. dollar as we're seeing these things flatten out, really could be why our breakouts aren't explosive moves. They're still working. They're still working for nice little moves, but they're not as explosive as what we would really like our breakouts to be. So, when in doubt, rule number one is fiercely protect your capital. And that's really what we want to make sure that we are, that we're taking our profits and keeping as much as we can in our pockets. Follow the rules the best you can. But if it's not reacting, I don't want to be in it too long. And if I see these breakouts start to flatten out, I lose a little bit of my conviction on those. So not a whole lot of new setups for today. A lot of it's just carried over from what we've had in the past. If you've got any questions, certainly feel free to send me an email, chuck@iiefinancial.com, and I will do my best to help you. Also, if you or somebody is looking for financial advice or financial advisor, we help all kind of different people, not just traders, but also people that don't want to trade for themselves. So I know I've spoken to a lot of you that your friends or your family or somebody may ask you, hey, how does that trading thing work? Well, if they're looking for an advisor who understands some of the concepts, we'd love for you to give them our info. So thanks so much, everybody. I hope you have an absolutely amazing day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. See you.